All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the almost Neo-Vision character. That's how strong Angel of Death Kuja is. Welcome once again to another banner review for Brave Exvius, Angel of Death Kuja. If you're a Final Fantasy IX fan, your time is now to get your hands on a fantastic character in Brave Exvius. So let's get in here. Thank you guys for spending that time here today. As always, on the channel, checking us out, supporting us via Patreon, as well as the YouTube channel memberships. Let's get in here right away. Angel of Death Kuja, straight up damage dealing character. He is not that hard to use, and he's a fantastic unit. So let's go over his Chaos Wave Awakened Chaining Frame family. He is very strong. He's fire as well as light based, and his TMR here is Trance Power, increase your magic by 40%, 25% true dual wield magic, as well as 25% LB damage. The LB damage thing doesn't matter too much for this character here. He uses his LB crystals in more powerful ways, if you can even think about that, than LB damage. Although, as you can see, it's a very fantastic teamwork because it gives you access to true dual wield, even though it's only 25% magic on a non-super TMR thing. So if you're a newer player trying to get access to some of that gear, same thing as Rem, fantastic TMR for that reason there. The S TMR here, Brumal Chorus here, is 175 magic rod, which has the effect of Angel's Magic, which autocasts Angel's Magic at the start of the battle, which is going to give you a new special effect here. It's going to increase your light and fire magic and physical damage by 10% for 99,999 turns, and this effect cannot be dispelled, which is incredibly powerful for this character because he is fire and light based, and this is a new sort of buff, right? It's going to increase your damage by 10%. So he's just going to be doing 10% more damage, just period. Like always. It's a new multiplier. It's really strong for that reason. It's just straight up 10% additional damage. So incredibly powerful effect there. If you get your hands on it, Kuja's your guy. Go for it if you want that extra 10%. As far as equipment selection goes, we have the traditional mage things. We have daggers, we have staves, rods, as well as maces for some reason. Armor selection, same deal, hats, clothing, and the old robes are back again. So let's get in here. Let's go over his base very important moves here. So we have Solar Onslaught and Astral Onslaught. These are his two basic moves. You're going to be using these quite a lot. They are going to be 22 times multiplier, Chaos Wave Awakened. There is a fire version as well as a light version here, and they are going to also give you 100% Imperil for 4 turns to a single target for the respective elements. So the fire one's fire Imperil, fire damage, Chaos Wave. Light one is light damage, Chaos Wave, light Imperil. Then we have Refreshing Rondo, which you can use as some MP refresh, although you probably won't use this skill all that much. But we have the very, very strong cooldown skill that he gets at 6-star. It's a 6-turn cooldown available on turn 1. It's called Overture Limits, and it's going to give you a 3.0 multiplier to himself for 3 turns to Crusade and Warfare, which are going to be the 2 skills that this skill is helping out. We're going to jump right down to those skills, even though they're the final 2 skills that he learns because they're that important for his kit. After that, though, it's going to give you 34 Limit Burst crystals. It's going to fully fill his Limit Burst up the following turn, and then it's going to do it the turn after that. So why is this so powerful and so important for him? That's because Warfare and Crusade are these 2 skills right here, incredibly powerful. So they cost 34 Limit Burst crystals each, so you can't dual cast them on the same turn, but you will be wanting to use them because they hit so hard. And this one here, the first one, Warfare, fire magic damage 0.5 multiplier with ignore 50% spirit, so a 1.0 mod. Followed by the final hit, fire magic damage 60 times multiplier with ignore 50% spirit, 120 times multiplier. All right, and then it increases your multipliers for Glorious Ascension, Igneous Zeal, Solar Onslaught, as well by 2.0 for 99,999 turns, and it gives you access to a skill called Flare Symphony, and this is also Chaos Wave Awakened. So Warfare is the fire version, Crusade is the light version, so if you're doing fire damage in a fight using Crusade, or Warfare as many times as possible, Crusade is going to be the light version of that. And they're going to lack separate skills here. So let's go down to these separate skills. I know this is sort of different for the kind of review that we do, but we're going over the most important stuff here. So we have Flare Symphony and Holy Symphony. Flare Symphony is a 35 times multiplier to one enemy, costs 62 MP, is Chaos Wave Awakened, and then increases the multipliers of your different skills here, the Ascension of Glorious Ascension and Solar Onslaught by 10.0, and then Igneous Zeal and Warfare by 1.5 is also Chaos Wave Awakened. Holy Symphony is the same thing, but it's a light-based version here, so you're going to buff the multipliers of your light-based skills of Astral Onslaught and Sublime Ascension, which we will go over by 10.0. And the multipliers of Angelic Advance and Crusade by 1.5. That one's not the biggest deal in the whole world, but right, Crusade And those things are the things that we just use to unlock these skills. So very powerful in their own right, 35 times multipliers there. On top of that, let's go over the rest of the skills. So we just talked about the onslaughts, right? Astral Onslaught, Solar Onslaught. These are the 100% imperils. They're 22 base multipliers. They're going to get 10 times mod increases, so they're going to be 32 after that. So a very powerful thing to get rolling and just spam out there, because he does also have access to quadruple cast there. After that, though, we have Legato Strike, which is a weak damage attack, which you can reuse to unlock his quadruple performance. He gets that in stronger ways, though, so you probably won't use this one all that often. Then we have the 2 Ascensions we talked about, Glorious Ascension as well as Sublime Ascension here, which is going to do a 20 times multiplier to all enemies here and give you a resistance buff of 75% for 4 turns to your entire team here, for either light or fire. So if you want to do some AoE damage, you're using the Ascensions. If you want to do single target damage, you're going to be doing the Onslaughts. They both get those multiplier increases. Now, we're going down in here. He has base dual cast, base triple cast as soon as you 7-star him. And then we have Igneous Zeal and Angelic Advance, were here his 2-turn cooldown skills here. Also very, very powerful, because it's another way to get LB crystals. So 2-turn cooldown available on turn 2. Igneous Zeal, fire magic damage 25 times mod with ignore 50% spirit to one enemy. So 100, or not 100 mod, 50 times multiplier there, but also gives you access to your LB gauge increase of 17 crystals, so half your LB gauge as well. Angelic Advance is the light-based version of this, and also gives you 17 gauge crystals. So if you use them both in the same turn, there's an enemy that you're doing both your fire and light attacks on, they don't, resist either of them. You can go ahead and do these at the same time, right? Use them both in the same turn. 50 mod each. Have 120% imperil from the following skill we'll go over, so you can do that because he has equal imperils in one skill, not hard to use. And you'll be able to just use these skills, fill up your LB gauge. Next turn, you're popping off Warfare, right? You're popping off Crusade again. Very powerful part of his kit, right? We have 120 times mods here. We have 50 times mods here. His backup filler skills are still like 32 times multipliers here at the very minimum. Then we have Soul Splitter as well. 4-turn cooldown available on turn 1. You're going to use this skill to set up because it gives you 120% fire and light imperil to all enemies for 4 turns. Also gives yourself a 300% magic buff for 4 turns. Also is going to give you access to Demon and Undead Killer 50% for 4 turns to the caster, and it's going to give you quadruple caster. So that's going to be his entire kit there as far as passives are concerned. Obviously, we're looking for the big things here. He does have True Dual Wield cap mod increase of 6.0. That's huge. That's the things that really kind of separated mages and physical damage dealers for the long time, and we're holding mages back because they just weren't giving them the 6 times mod cap for true dual wielding, so they had no real bonus for it. So he does have access to that. He has access to 150% true dual wield magic too, so if you get like 2 of his TMR, 225% TMRs that give magic from true dual wielding, that'll hit him on cap for true dual wield magic there. He has a fair amount of defense, nothing super crazy, but it's in there. But he's got a decent amount of magic as well. You got magic, spirit, default, defense, magic, spirit, magic. Can be pretty easy to cap him out. True dual wield magic as well as magic. Get those killers in there. And speaking of killers, he has 200% demon and undead killer base. He also has fire and light resistance of 50%. He's also immune to paralysis, confusion, and petrification, which are all very, very, very strong. And he also has unleash power at the start of the battle. It's going to give you a full LB gauge right away, which is incredibly powerful, and this is going to kind of make his rotation a lot easier to do as well for that reason, because he's a CG character. He also has True Angel of Death that is auto cast at the start of the battle here, which can give you 200% LB damage buff for 1 turn to the caster. You won't really be using this. His LB is okay. It gives you a 70% defense and spirit break for the turn that you're casting the skill. Gives yourself a 250% magic buff, and then it just does a 68 times multiplier, 34 multiplier there. Ignore 50% spirit there, but you have to build him for LB damage. Yeah, he does have that 1-turn LB damage buff, but you'd be better off, like we said, using things like Warfare, which 120 times mod, right? But that's not the only skill you're casting that turn. To be casting some other skills, right? Some other, 52 times multiplier skills, things of that nature. So very, 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 very powerful. Remember, he starts off with his LB. Fully unleashed, so you can go into a battle, start off with your quadricast or with your triple cast, right? get in there. Right away, turn 1, you have your triple cast. You will use Soul Splitter, unlock your quadricast, right? Get that Fire Imperil up, get that magic buff up, get that Demon and Undead Killer up. Then you're going to have your LB gauge fully maxed out, so you can pick Warfare or Crusade, whichever one that you want, and just hit them with that right away on turn 1. And just get in there after you cast Warfare or Crusade. You can use Solar Onslaught or Glorious Ascension, depending if you want to do single target or AoE damage there. A lot of the times there. Then after that, you're going to have, you'll be ready to go. Or if you want less damage on turn 1, what you do is you actually go in and you start out Soul Splitter, and this is probably the best way to start an actual boss fight. You go Soul Splitter, get all those buffs up, and then you go Overture Limit to get that 3 times mod increase for Crusade and Warfare, which is actually going to go into that skill quite a few times and go in there 4 times, so that's a 12 times mod increase. So it's going to raise this up to, from 121 mod, it's going to raise it up to like 133 mod or something like that, 134 mod, somewhere around there. So you're going to Soul Splitter into Overture Limit into Warfare. Boom, coming in, big slap, 130 something mod with 1 skill on that turn. The cool part is the next turn, you are going to autofill your LB gauge back up again because you used Overture Limit, and you're going to get in there and you're going to go Warfare again. You eat all your LB, okay? You're going to eat all your LB with Warfare, and then you can get in there and spam out some of your other skills. And then the turn after that, you get all your LB back again. And you're going to use Warfare again and some other big damage skills, which is pretty cool. And even though these are 2-turn cooldown skills, Igneous Eel and Angelic Advance, the reason I didn't bring those up yet is because you don't want to waste the LB gauge fill here. So turn 1, you're setting up Soul Splitter, setting up Overture Limit using Warfare. Turn 2, you're going to use Warfare again. All right, very strong. And then you're not going to use these other 2 cooldown skills. You're going to use, Solar Onslaught or Astral Onslaught or whatever it is. And then turn 3, you're going to start the 3rd turn, get that LB gauge filled up automatically again, and you're going to cast Warfare, and then you're going to cast Igneous Seal, and then you're going to cast Angelic Advance because you're going to eat your LB gauge, and you're going to fill it back up again. So on the next turn, the 4th turn, you're still going to have full LB gauge. So you're going to fire this off. This looks hard to use. It's not. You get like 4 casts, just go in there. Very strong character, high multipliers, firing off 120 times multipliers every turn on top of some other things with Quadricast. Get in some 32 mods at the very least amount, 54 sprinkled in there, 130 something mods every turn for the first couple of turns. An insane amount of damage here for you with Angel of Death. Kuja, he's incredibly powerful. Like I'm shaking my head over here. Like he's just that strong. He's just that strong. So very strong character there. Next one, we can zoom on right here through here. Zoomer Boomer Garland here. TMR Angel of Desire for Cycle of Rebirth. He's not an angel. He's an old man. He's an old man with no real heart. He's 40% magic here. 50% chance to resist stop. Trash TMR. If it was 100%, then we have something to talk about. Maybe if you want to stack it up. If they stack to 100%, sure. Maybe you use it there. Outside of that, if it was 100%, we'd be talking about it. If it does stack, it'd be a lot better. Still using 2 TMR slots for that. Maybe if it really matters to. His STMR Garland's Cloak, 60 flat magic and resist all elements 30%. Not the worst thing ever. It's like a magic version of Awaken Rain's Super Trust Master Reward. The thing with Awaken Rain's Super Trust Master Reward is I do believe that thing already had 30 magic on it too. So this is just 30 more magic on Awaken Rain. Super TMR. Just lose all the other stats. Pretty good, but like nothing super crazy. Best thing about Garland, in my opinion, he's naturally resistant to all elements by 30%. That's really cool. The thing is, it really makes him do garbage damage. They made him do garbage damage because if you had like his super TMR and you have this right here, I mean, you have a lot of element resistance. It's not even that funny. So let's get in here. The problem with Garland here, he has the typical double cast, triple cast, quadricast unlock here for you guys here. But his multipliers just are not that good. His multipliers outside of these 2 cooldown skills here just are not that good. I mean, look at this stuff. We have some of his big damage dealing skills, the ones that you're spamming out, like Flame Burst, Shadow Burst, Fire Break, and Dark Break, 8 and 6 times mounts. So those are low. They do get multiplier increases, of course. They get multiplier increases that add up to 20. So, and then you just kind of spam them out there, Quadricast. I mean, you have his cooldown skills as well, something similar to Kuja here, right? We have something not bad here. Every 2 turns, you have a Dark and Fire version, 120% Imperil. Get in there with a 52 times multiplier with LB damage increase, and you use those every other turn. That's fine. But the rest of his skills, I mean, you have like 26 mod, 28 mod, which isn't too far off of Kuja's spammable skills, but then Kuja also is just like spamming out 130 mod skills and things of that nature, he's just really not that good. Unless you're like a huge fan of Garland, he's got the 6x mod chain cap, so that makes him a lot better than some of these older mages that don't have it. But he's just nothing super special to be pulling on for this banner here. And his LB here does have those 100% LB damage buffs. His LB is non-elemental, same as Kuja's, so you're not using Imperil, so you might as well, it's like cutting the multiplier of this in half if you're comparing to even something that was like fire damage with 100% Imperil. That'd be equaling this if it was 15, ignore 50%. So keep that in mind as well. It's non-elemental, not the greatest thing. It's weird too because it's non-elemental, but it also gives you fire and dark Imperil. Like, not the greatest thing ever. Now, I usually don't cover the free characters on this banner, but I'm not going to do one for Knight of Pluto Zidane all on his own, but I do want to talk about his S team right here for you guys. It is the Knights of Pluto shield. Knights of Pluto, not Knight of Pluto, Knights of Pluto. Gives you 50% attack when equipped with a dagger or a sword, but most importantly, it gives you 20% physical and magical dodge. So if you don't have a shield, a light shield, by the way, very strong. If you don't have a light shield with dodge percent, you can get this guy from the event. You can get his STMR for free as well. So keep that in mind. His TMR is kind of garbage. The character himself isn't game breaking. He's not awful though. So, you know, you can get in there. You can do damage with him, right? We've had a lot of free to play, free actual, not even just free to play. There's a lot of things in this, like you can get anything in this game free to play as long as you're lucky. But there's a lot of those free units that do damage. He's not any worse than a lot of those characters. He's just not like super crazy. You're basically going to be using Thief's Ploy to get 25 times mod increases on some of your skills here. He's wind based for a lot of his damage skills. He's got wind and barrel, wind and view for himself, and then he has an unlocked skill here called Giga Pluto Steel. That's going to give him a actually pretty huge LB damage buff here. Giga Pluto Steel here is going to give you 300% LB damage for the next turn, basically, so you have to LB the following turn. And if you do LB the following turn, his LB actually has a decent multiplier on it. It's got a 56 times multiplier. So 300% LB damage. If you want to build him for LB damage over time, do some little bit of chaining damage, and then, you know, one turn every once in a great while, you could use him to do some big LB damage for you. It is 8 hits, so you have to chain weave that in there. You could use this even for like dark visions, actually, because he does have a really high mod. He can wear a lot of that stuff. He's got fist weapons. He's got the all-important swords. He's got bows, things of that nature. So you can get him in there and do some work with him, even in something like dark visions. If you want to just hit something really hard, if you have the gear to back him up, you don't have someone to do that huge chain finishing LB damage for you. He could do that for you because you only need to do it the one time. Afterwards, it kind of falls off though. So that's going to be our FF9 stuff. Thank you guys for spending that time here. As always, like I said, thank you guys so much for that support. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. I have to go get something to drink. We got to go get some coffee or something. Until then, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.